This is the AWS Morning Brief Security Edition. AWS is fond of saying security is job zero. That means it's nobody in particular's job, which means it falls to the rest of us. Just the news you need to know, none of the fluff. This episode is sponsored in part by Honeycomb. When production is running slow, it's hard to know where problems originate. Is it your application code, users, or the underlying systems? I've got $5 on DNS, personally. Why scroll through endless dashboards while dealing with alert floods, going from tool to tool to tool that you employ, guessing at which puzzle pieces matter? Context switching and tool sprawl are slowly killing both your team and your business. You should care more about one of those than the other. Which one is up to you? Drop the separate pillars and enter a world of getting one unified understanding of the one thing driving your business: production. With Honeycomb, you guess less and know more. Try it for free at honeycomb.io/screaming-in-the-cloud. Observability, it's more than just hipster monitoring.
Hello and welcome to Last Week in AWS Security Edition. Let's get to it. We start this week's episode off with an occurrence so frequent that I've built a fill-in-the-blank style template for it. Here we go. In the most recently reported Azure vulnerability, first blank here, Palo Alto Networks' Unit 42, there we are, discovered that Azure had dropped the ball on workload isolation within its Service Fabric offering. Azure, of course, did that around for 6 months before patching it and has offered up no explanation of just what it spent that time doing instead. Lovely, no? Let's see what else happened in the ecosystem. It goes without saying that you shouldn't leave your users' credentials lying around, and that goes double when you're Amazon Photos and thus expose your own customers to risk. I'm not sure when this came out, but I also rediscovered Scott Piper's work on lesser-known techniques for attacking AWS environments. And when I set up my new desktop computer, which is aptly named US Shitpost 1, I very intentionally did not include an AWS credentials file on it. Everything I use on my system instead uses environment variables that get set when I assume a role. In no small part due to precisely the sort of attack that leads to, PyPy Python packages getting caught sending stolen AWS keys to unsecured sites.
DoorDash had a problem. As their cloud-native environment scaled and developers delivered new features, their monitoring system kept breaking down. In an organization where data is used to make better decisions about technology and about the business, losing observability means the entire company loses their competitive edge. With Chronosphere, DoorDash is no longer losing visibility into their application suite. The key? Chronosphere is an open-source compatible, scalable, and reliable observability solution that gives the observability lead at DoorDash business confidence and peace of mind. Read the full success story at snark.cloud/chronosphere. That's snark.cloud/CHRONOSPHERE.
AWS has announced that TLS 1.2 is going to be the new minimum TLS protocol level for all AWS API endpoints, and this is bad news for those of you still living 10 years in the past. Make sure you update your nonsense. And I'm not sure why I had to find out about it in an open source project's gist, but GuardDuty has new findings that are effective as of, today. And of course, from the tools world, CloudFormation Guard had a new release. It's from AWS, yes, but it's also an open source security tool that makes CloudFormation less terrible from a security perspective. And that's what happened last week in AWS security. I'm cloud economist Corey Quinn. Stay salty.
Thank you for listening to the AWS Morning Brief Security Edition. For the latest in AWS security that actually matters, please follow AWS Morning Brief on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, or wherever the hell it is you find the dulcet tones of my voice, and be sure to sign up for the Last Week in AWS newsletter at lastweekinaws.com.
This has been a Humble Pod production. Stay humble.